Hi folks, and welcome to episode or chapter 4 of Chapters. And today I have a very glamorous assistant in the guise of Freya Kennedy. So Freya's book, which is The Hopes and Dreams of Libby Quinn, comes out tomorrow for you all to read. And I am one very lucky lady who has known Freya for quite a long time actually. And I've been very lucky to read this lovely, perfect for lockdown book on its journey during its writing process. I've read various versions. Actually, haven't read the final version. So tomorrow, like all of you, hopefully I will get to read and enjoy that. So welcome, Freya. How are you today?
I can't do any other accents, so we're going to have to reveal that, but like Clark Kent and Superman, it's actually just me.
It's just Claire Allan. Today
I'm having a hot flush, so the scarf is coming off. Yeah, it's just me, but I am Freya Kennedy also. Lovely to see you, my lovely Fionnuala.
It's lovely to have Freya / Claire on, and for me to be talking to you. Mm-hmm. So, as I said, I've read various versions of the book, and it comes out tomorrow. And I look forward to reading it. But tell us about it, and also while telling us about the book and maybe a little bit about the storyline, why the venture back into rom-com? Because obviously, as Claire Allan, you started off your writing life writing rom-com, and then veered over to the dark side, and have very successfully been writing thrillers now for several years. And this is your venture with a pseudonym back to the lighter side. About it.
Well, this book, actually, I started writing this book before I had a deal for the thrillers, as you probably remember. Vanilla, her name was Rose, was out on submission, and for me that's the worst time as a writer, when you have your book that's either with a new publisher or with your editor and you're waiting for that thumbs up or thumbs down. And because that was my first thriller and I didn't have the confidence that actually it would be what people wanted to read, I thought I'll just put a wee sort of rom-com as a sort of security project, I suppose, and it distracted me and it kept me busy, and it was light, and I thought maybe that if I wrote it, I might self-publish it possibly if I didn't get a deal with anybody else, and maybe it would generate a little bit of income, because at the end of the day we love writing, but we all have bills to pay. But the thrillers took off, so it went into a drawer, and then I found particularly writing The Liar's Daughter. It was a really, really dark book, really dark, and I love it, and I love writing thrillers, and I love getting really dark and gritty in them. But I needed something to sort of lift myself a wee bit back out after writing it. So the notion came to revisit this book, and we sent it out. My agent had been at me constantly since I wrote it to send it out. I think she definitely had more faith in it than I did. So we sent it out, and the rest is history. So now the plan is really that I'll write one thriller and then pull myself out of that dark place by writing something nice and light, and then be able to get even grittier next time round in the thrillers. So
yeah. I mean, it's a big order, to sort of veer from one end to the other, especially if you're, as we've said before on these chapters, the way the writers are always working is there's one in editing process, there's one on the go, there's one rattling away in your head. But I guess, I suppose really it is just that balance, isn't it? Against it's the light and the dark side of life, and the light and the dark side of writing. And as you say, it's able to lift you up. But as Claire Allan, I mean, was that your 13th book? As Claire Allan / Freya, obviously as Freya, it's your first venture out into the world. But in total, is it your 13th book?
This is my 13th novel.
Lucky for some.
It was 2007, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a staggering amount of writing. I mean, I met you, I think it must be at least 10 years ago, on a writer's forum, and you had just published your first rom-com,
Yeah.
Rainy Days and Tuesdays.
Tuesdays, so that was 2007.
And I remember back then, I mean, I still am, but I remember back then being completely in awe of this person who had written this book and gotten it published so quickly, etc., etc. And, you know, I was a wannabe and you were already on your way. But I suppose what I'm trying to ask you is, like, what is writing to you? Because I think we've touched on this before, just in personal conversations. Mm-hmm. Like it's more than a career choice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an addiction, and it's a compulsion, and it's a vocation. So as many times as I've tried to walk away from writing, and you know, Fionnuala, there are times that we have both got to the stage where we
oh my
God, it's tough, because it is a
Why
tough
do we do this to ourselves?
Yeah. It's a tough industry, and it's, you know, there are rejections, and there's the business side of it. I love the creative side of it. The business side of it is not as much fun all the time, but I just can't actually walk away from it. And I actually find if I'm not writing, I'm really crab it, like more crab it than usual, and it's something that I have to do, and it's an escape. Just as reading a book is an escape, writing a book is an escape as well. And yes, it's really hard work, but
it's funny, the compulsion side of it, though. It's a good word, because when you're doing it, as you say, sometimes it can be the most frustrating act in the world, because it doesn't go to plan sometimes. And when you're not doing it, then you miss it incredibly. It's like, you know, it's like you've just got a huge chunk of you missing, and that you really have to get back to it quickly. But so alongside the compulsion and the work and the success / sometimes, you know, days like you feel like you're failing brilliantly at it, what do you do to relax? Can you relax?
I don't relax. Do you know, what I had found really useful, and obviously lockdown, as you know, has knocked this on the head, is that my writing office, I have a writing office in my mother's house, which sort of came about because working from home, I was always doing a little bit of housework here, and it was too easy to go off and do something else.
I know that feeling where you just think, oh, I'll just go and put that wash on, and actually you're just procrastinating.
Exactly. So I got this dedicated writing space in my mum's spare room, which is brilliant. And when I was writing like that, it was great, because I did switch off at, you know, 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever it was, and I would leave the laptop there, go home, and, you know, binge watch Grey's Anatomy, or hang out with the kids, or crochet, or whatever else, for that wee bit of downtime. So now that I don't have that, I'm, you know, writing round the clock, really, I suppose, but I am finding it a distraction from everything that is going on, because the book that I'm working on at the minute, which is Freya Kennedy book number 2, there's no coronavirus in it. It doesn't exist. It's in a wee world where, you know, everything's lovely, and it's a sunny day, and people are allowed to go out and walk in the park, so you can travel.
I saw something on Twitter the other day, and it's also affected me in my book that's coming out next year, that is actually set in 2020, but now I've had to make it a generic year. You know, what do we do around this thing that's going on in the world? Because obviously, if we're writing a normal book, you know, you can't really set it in what is a really very abnormal world without either choosing to immerse your characters in it, or just give it a little nod, which seems almost, you know, not right, because this is, let's face it, to all of us, more than a little nod.
Exactly. So, you know, it's not respectful of the people that are working so hard, and, you know, the people that have lost people and everything. So I think the only way that you can tackle it at the minute, because it's so fresh, it's still ongoing, is you would have to immerse yourself in that as a storyline. But it's one of those things. When is going to be the right time to write about it? I don't know. You know,
it's going to be raw for a long time, I think. So, I mean, we are in lockdown. We are living through this very, very odd time. And I mean, you said to us there how important your writing is really for your sanity, for keeping everything in an equal plane. But what are your other top isolation tips? So what's sort of come to you during this period as something that, you know, you think works for you that perhaps didn't, or you didn't think of before?
Do you know, I'm such a cliche, sorry, I really am, but I've been baking scones an awful lot. No banana bread or sourdough, but scones. And I never, ever, ever before lockdown managed to bake an edible scone. Just didn't have that.
I'm not a baker.
Scones, depending on how breakfast.
Scones or scones, you know, answers on a postcard.
So that I have found that very therapeutic, because obviously when you're doing something and you're creating something, your mind's, and you're just, especially when you do something with your hands, your mind goes into that. So I found that really good, but mostly because I have 2 children and they're a wee bit older, but they are still children. It's just about trying to make things feel as normal as possible. So we don't sweat it. We just, you know what, we do what we have to do. If we want to have a sleep, we have a sleep. If we want to have a chat about what's going on, we have a chat about what's going on. There's definitely much less structure to things, and I think I really have had to just sort of chill out.
I think, strangely enough, you're much more chilled nowadays. It's really odd. You know, it's like, don't sweat it is a pretty good hashtag really for lockdown, isn't it? You know, because none of us have any control over what's going on, and ultimately we're all control freaks, and we all want to feel that we know when there's an end to this, and you know. But yeah, I mean, don't sweat it is probably good, you know.
As you know, I'm a complete control freak, and I really
we both are,
all my ducks in a row, but it comes to a stage where there really is, and you say there's nothing we can do. It is so far outside of our control that you have to just offer it up. It's strange when you say I'm a wee bit more chilled out. Like when I took really sick, as you know, a couple of years ago, I had sepsis and was really ill, and it was a case of, you know, might have died situation. And it's funny when I was actually that ill, I was kind of chilled out about it, because it was like, nothing about it, there's no point, you just have to ride the storm. So that's really what we have to do, and my focus is on making sure that the children are still laughing and smiling, and you know, so we just are silly. And I have my dog. Should have mentioned the dog.
Yeah, he's a bit of a lifesaver for you, isn't she?
She's a complete lifesaver, and you know, she's been really keeping us going through lockdown. We just have such a laugh with her because she's silly, but you know, and reading and audiobooks. And
I was about to say, reading has probably been one of my saving graces, because you know, we touched on it with Phoebe the other day, how, you know, people come to whatever end of this business that you're in, because ultimately we start out as avid readers. And then because we're writing, editing, whatever, sometimes it changes our reading experience and we read less. And also we have to read proofs, etc., etc. So we read less choices of books. But actually, I've really got back into reading and I'm loving it. Really loving it. And I don't care if any voice I'm reading spills over into what writing I'm doing. I'll pick that up on editing.
Exactly.
It's just I'm really, really enjoying reading again.
What I think is great about reading at a time like this is, well, you know, I'm addicted to Twitter, okay? Or social media. And we're all guilty of it. We're all picking up our phones and Instagram and Twitter, whatever else. When you're reading, you don't do that as much, because you're sitting with the book, physical book in front of you, and you're not flicking. I know when I'm watching TV, I'm still flicking through the phone or whatever else, but when you're reading, you don't do that. So it really does take you out of yourself. I think that's why it works.
Yeah. So, Freya Kennedy, are you ready for your quick fire?
Yes, let's go.
Okay, so I've decided now, you as Claire Allan and I have decided, or had decided, that we would keep these 10 questions of quick fire the same for everybody. But I thought, you know what they are in advance. So that's, So what I'll do is I'll keep the first 5 the same, which are, you know, writing, writer, authorly related. And then the second 5 are to Freya Kennedy. Okay.
Okay.
So you know how it goes, sort of just answer however you feel, you know, quickly or a bit longer or whatever. But anyway, first question, scenes, right? In order or not?
In order.
Control freak.
It is, it's totally control freak. And you know what it is too? See, if I didn't write them in order, what I would be afraid of is that I would write all the really fun bits first.
Yes.
And then have to write all the in-betweeny stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
So the fun bits are like my reward for doing the in-betweeny stuff every, you know. So.
Yeah, exactly that. I feel exactly the same. Although I really admire people who write out of sync, but I couldn't do it.
That's a whole other level of jigsaw power thing. No.
And a whole other level of control, actually, because I would feel like I was on some weird roller coaster if I did that. Okay, number 2, more effective writing time, morning, afternoon or evening?
Morning and evening, afternoons, no. I suppose it depends how my day goes. But mornings during lockdown, because the kids tend to be asleep and be quiet and
you can get up and just get on. Mine hasn't changed that much during lockdown. I think I've always been better in the morning, more effective in the morning. And nowadays I'm writing through to sort of, I take lunch and work through till early afternoon, but I've never been able to write in the evening. Never. I would literally, even if you gave me the phone book to transcribe, I couldn't write it.
You see, when I was working full time, that was my writing thing. So it's still a little bit ingrained in me to do that. But I do like it when I don't have to write in the evening, because I do feel a bit like this should be downtime now.
Okay, number 3, prefer writing first draft or editing?
First draft.
Yeah.
100%. Not a fan of.
Waste 2 houses, really, isn't it? We're the same.
Not a fan of editing. I am becoming more of a fan of editing.
Yeah.
But I think I have to really work to get over that. Somebody's telling me my book's not good enough, I have to change it. And of course, that's not what they're doing. They're making it better, but it's like getting your homework back with the Red Cross. Sometimes, you know. So,
but I think we as authors probably prefer the editing process. The more we get to work with different editors too, because every editor is different and every editor brings something special to the party. And I think when you realize that you know that is an ongoing process, and we are, with every process we learn something.
Yeah, I think so much from Phoebe at putting Claire Allan here on, from Phoebe at Avon, and I've been working with Caroline Redding at Boldwood Books for Libby Quinn, and oh my god, she catches everything. You know, she's brilliant. And things that having already written 8 women's fiction books or rom-coms before that I would have thought I knew, I have learned so much. So just goes to show.
We'll bow to our editors and continue to learn and enjoy, I think, the editing process. So quickly, favourite novel?
Rachel's Holiday by Marion Keyes.
Oh, okay.
And You, Me and Other People by Fionnuala Kearney.
I thought we agreed this up front.
It's probably, no, to be really, really honest, you know that my favourite of your books is the one that you're currently editing.
Yeah.
And I love them all, but that
I have to stop making this a love-in about me, really, so let's just stop that. Favourite author, genuinely favourite author.
Well, Fionnuala Kearney. It's Marion Keyes or Anna McPartlin.
Anna and Marion are brilliant.
Marion probably nudges it because just I've grown up with her books.
Yeah, you've grown up with her books, no pun intended, eh?
Yeah, I read her first book when I was 21, and I still remember that I bought it in Easton and Castlecourt in Belfast. I was studying journalism. I went in, it was Rachel's Holiday, and I remember thinking this will be about a girl that goes on holiday, because the cover had like flip-flops, and of course it's not about going on holiday.
Not about someone going on holiday at all. It's a brilliant book.
I was reading it travelling over on the ferry to Wales, because my then boyfriend, now husband, was working in Wales, and I remember sitting on the ferry and actually laughing out loud. I think it was the first time a book really made me laugh out loud in public. just brilliant.
Brilliant. Long live Marion. Okay, now we're going to go on to the Freya Kennedy bits. Okay, iPhone or Android, Freya? Are you? I didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Although I am due to change phones shortly, and everybody else is on an iPhone, but so far I am a solid
You're
Android.
an Android girl.
Yeah.
Favorite beach?
Oh, Tulla Bay in Donegal, which is where we have the summer retreat, our caravan. It's a very quiet beach. It's on the Atlantic coast, so you just see over. It's usually really quiet, big sand dunes, mountains on one side. It's just, if I could be there now, oh my God.
I know, don't we really miss seeing the sea? God, I really miss seeing the sea.
Oh, it centers you in a way nothing else can. You know, it's true what they say about you realise how sort of small you are, but
yeah,
in a good way.
Yeah. So this one is definitely for Freya now and not for Claire, okay? So Freya, Michael Buble or Tom Hardy?
Michael Buble? Always and every day in every incarnation. Look, come on, I could hardly say Tom Hardy.
I know. I did try and give you a fairly good option for you to sort of shift to, Freya, but no, obviously not.
Freya is as loyal as Claire is.
Okay, all right. Matte lipstick or lip gloss?
Matte lipstick.
Yeah, see, I'm a lip gloss girl. Yeah.
Yeah. I probably change around, but no, because my favorite is MAC Russian Red, which is matte. And since turning 40, it's the only time I've worn red lipstick, and I love it. So yeah, bit of matte, bit of sparkle in the eyes and matte lipstick.
Good. So final question: post lockdown, where would you like to visit most in the world that you have never been to?
Oh, I say never been to, but because I was going to say the place I want to visit obviously is the Claire Allan suite in your lovely where we often get together and have a wee glass of wine. But
Freya can come and stay anytime, but you've been there before, so try and think of somewhere you've been.
No, I always and given what has happened recently, but Italy is my dream destination. I have never been. I have always wanted to go, and in Northern Italy, Tuscany, Tuscan Hills, a villa in the Tuscan Hills would be my dream come true.
Oh, well, listen, you talk about dreams coming true. You know, you have got a lovely book out tomorrow. So give us a wave of the book and let us know where we can find it. I should be waving the book, but I haven't got a physical copy. So Freya/Claire is gonna wave the book. You want to put your glasses back on again, Freya? No, just
no.
Okay.
It's available on all the usual ebook retailers, so Apple Books, Kobo, Amazon, and you can also order it in paperback format and audiobook from tomorrow. And I really like it. Actually, I've become very fond of this book, especially over the last few weeks, because I do think it is the perfect read to give you a wee lift.
It is. The Hopes and Dreams of Libby Quinn, available from tomorrow. Thank you, Freya, for joining us today.
It's lovely to meet you.
Oh yes, absolutely. Lovely to meet you too. And good luck with the book. And alongside Libby's dreams, hopefully your dream of Italy will come through very soon too.
Thank you.
Bye.